On Scotland's west coast, located in a narrow strait between two islands, is one of the most treacherous stretches of water found anywhere around the British Isles. When there's the right tidal conditions, it becomes the third largest whirlpool in the world. Let's go to the Corryvreckan. Hello everyone from the Isle of Jura here on the west coast of Scotland. I actually visited this island last year and I made a video, so if you're interested to see that video, I will link it below. However, last time I didn't go that deep into the wilds of Jura, and that's exactly why I'm back here today. I'm going to be hiking to the very north of the island, and at the very north of the island there is a natural phenomenon that only happens a few times a month. And it's happening today. It's quite a long hike. I think it's around 7 miles one way, so I better get started. Let's go. Here is the start of the walk. This is the sign to the Corryvreckan, and this is the end of the public road here on Jura. So from this point onwards, this is the track. So here is the chain and barrier, so you cannot bring a vehicle past here. You need to park the car at the end of the public road. So I've been walking for around 20 minutes so far, and this is the track, and then there's this arrow here which points off to a very faint track here into the bog. Really enjoying the walk so far. The weather today is incredible. Look at all those blue skies behind me. Amazing. At the car park where I left the car, there is a plaque that says you should leave 6 hours return to get from the car park to the north of Jura and back again. It's a long hike, long way. Let's keep going. Sometimes when you're walking, it's hard to appreciate the views, so I keep stopping to have a look at the views. Wow. What do you think of the views, everyone? So every time I show the views when I'm in Scotland, there's always so many comments about why are there no trees in Scotland? Where are all the trees? On the west coast of Scotland, if you try and plant trees, it's quite windy, so they struggle to survive. Also, there are deer and sheep who graze the land and are likely to eat the small trees. Originally, I believe there were a lot of trees, but they were chopped down and used for firewood, building, things like that, and the work that has been done to do any replanting has been a bit of a struggle. That's the main thing, but there are some parts of Scotland that do still have ancient woodlands. So when I was on the Ardnamurchan Peninsula recently, I drove through an area that had a lot of ancient woodland, which was really lovely to see. And I believe there's also some ancient woodland here on Jura on the north of the island, so perhaps I'll be able to see that today once I get up there. Okay, time for a little rest. So I've been hiking for around an hour so far, and it is so peaceful. As I've been hiking, I've also been listening to some music. You've probably seen me wearing these headphones here. In the past, I never really listened to music when I was hiking because I like to be aware of my surroundings. However, these headphones are called the Open Pro 2 from Shocks. They're really interesting because they don't actually go inside my ear. They sit on the bones of my ear and use something called bone conduction technology. I can listen to music but still be aware of my surroundings. I'm able to hear if there's other hikers coming up behind me. I can hear animals, I can hear insects, and I often use them when I'm out walking or jogging near a road and I can hear traffic or people coming up behind me. I've also been using these headphones for regular workouts, and on the back there's this really grippy strap so they don't fall off even if you're doing something really high intensity like burpees. The headphones are also water resistant, which is very useful in Scotland. I highly recommend giving Shocks headphones a try, especially if you're like me and like to be aware of your surroundings but still listen to music or podcasts at the same time. If you're interested to find out more, I'll leave the link for Shocks headphones below. Now, let's continue the hike. In the distance behind me, you can see Barn Hill. I came to this point last time I was on Jura, and this was the furthest point that I reached. This is the house where George Orwell, the author, wrote the famous novel 1984. And at the time when he wrote that novel, it was a very, very isolated place. And this house is now available to rent. If you would like to stay there, it costs about £1,000 a week, according to what I've read online. Because the weather is so clear today, you can see so far into the distance. I can see a lighthouse on that small island. I can see buildings on the land in the distance. From this point onwards, this is a part of the island that I've not explored before, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what it's like. As I'm hiking, I'm going to have a snack. So actually, I've been eating these a lot recently when I'm hiking. They're called Naked bars. They are really good. So this is the chocolate flavoured one. They also have a salted caramel flavour, which is also very, very yummy. I actually end up wanting to eat like 2 or 3 of them because they're so good. This is the road that I just came down. Over there is Barn Hill, so you can see the roof poking out above the bushes. But the place that I'm going is straight on. This is the route to the north of the island. I've now arrived at this small bay and it's absolutely gorgeous here. There is a boat docked out there and I saw someone rowing into the land. Wow, so peaceful. There's lots of birds here as well. I've arrived now at this junction and it looks like it's 2 miles from here up this hill to get to the destination. So I've turned off onto the path. There's another house there. So now I'm off the road. The path looks like this. I've been walking, but it actually might be here. I can see a boat parked. These might be the whirlpools. I could see some movement in the water and wondered if this was the start of the whirlpool. It is all full of water in there. There's a step instead. It's probably better to go over that. I am walking through the bog. It is very boggy, but the views are like this. This island here, I've forgotten the name, but it looks really lovely in this weather. I've met quite a few people who are coming up. Everyone seems to know that it's in the afternoon today, so people are coming to see the whirlpools. Such a good day for hiking. Very, very boggy. Look at this. It is seriously boggy. The final stretch of the hike to the northern tip of Jura took me across some rugged, challenging terrain. I've heard that Jura is home to many adders, a type of snake which can be found in Scotland. I've only encountered one adder before, and that was last year in southern Scotland. I think I'm almost here. I passed someone who said there is 5 more minutes to the end to see the view. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, I have arrived at the top of Jura. In front of me, I can see the whirlpools. Wow. Over there is another island. So between Jura and the other island, you can see all the white foam in the water, and those are the whirlpools. So over there, in the distance, that looks like the strongest part of the whirlpool. This is the Corryvreckan Whirlpool, and it's said to be the 3rd largest whirlpool in the world. It's located between the Isle of Jura and the Isle of Skarba. In case you're like me and are curious about where the largest and 2nd largest whirlpools are, they are both in Norway. The Corryvreckan Whirlpool is created by a combination of strong Atlantic tides, underwater topography, and the narrowing of the strait between the 2 islands. The seabed beneath the Corryvreckan is said to have a deep hole, followed by a tall pinnacle of rock. When tidal currents rush over these formations, the water is forced upwards, creating large waves and the whirlpool effect. Although it doesn't look so dramatic today, during certain tidal conditions, the whirlpool can reach speeds of up to 8.5 knots. Waves can reach 9 metres high, and its roaring sound can be heard miles away. It is amazing here. This island looks so impressive. It's so funny, every time I go to a place, I sometimes see another place and then I think, oh, I want to go there. So it happened to me when I was on the Isle of Muck, I saw some other islands, and now I really want to go to some of the other islands around there. And then when I passed Fair Isle on the Northlink ferry before, I thought to myself, I'd like to go to Fair Isle. And this island looks very interesting, very rugged. And I can see a building in the distance, so I wonder if anyone lives there. It's actually taken me quite a long time to get here, so the description was right that you need to leave 6 hours for the return. I stopped quite a lot on the journey here, but I'm absolutely starving. So I'm going to sit here, enjoy the view and have some lunch. This is a lovely sandwich that I made with falafel and hummus and spinach. Oh, it's a bit squashed. Oh yikes. Looks so good. I wonder if it's possible to sail through these whirlpools. So if you're passing here in a yacht, do people avoid going through here? I'm very curious to know about that. It might be quite treacherous. I do remember reading a story about George Orwell, and he got into some problems as he was navigating the waters here, but that would be quite a few years ago now, maybe 60, 70 years ago. I've really enjoyed the hike to come all the way up here. Definitely was worth doing. It's a long, long hike. The last 1 hour is very boggy, but if you are up for it, I definitely would recommend coming here to see the whirlpools. It's really cool. I want to see them from closer up. So I'm now going to hike back. I'm going to go to Islay, which is the island beside Jura. And next I'm going to be getting on a boat. And I want to get out there and see the whirlpools from close up. So, time to go back. I'm almost back at the van. It's been a very long hike to get back. But in the distance there are some deer. I am back on Islay. I took the ferry back over to Islay from Jura, and I am pretty sunburnt from the hike yesterday. The boat to go to the whirlpools is leaving from Port Ascaig on Islay. So I've arrived here now and the boat will be leaving shortly. Let's go and see the whirlpools close up. I am so excited. So, as we're waiting, here is the big Calmac ferry coming in. Oh, it's so big compared to the small Jura ferry. I booked my boat trip to the whirlpools from Islay with a company called Islay Sea Adventures. The 3-hour trip cost me £105 and is only available to book on limited days each month. It's also possible to take boat trips from other places in Scotland too. The Corryvreckan Whirlpool is most impressive during spring tides, when there's a new or full moon. At these times, there is the biggest difference between low and high tides, which amplifies the strength of the currents, making the whirlpool more powerful and dramatic. As we left Islay, we cruised past several distilleries, including Kalila, Ardnahoe and Bunnahabhain. We were treated to stunning views of the Paps of Jura, the 3 iconic peaks that dominate the Isle of Jura's rugged landscape. As we continued our journey, it was incredible to witness the remote, untouched side of Jura from the sea. With no roads on this side of the island, it looks so wild and isolated. We were then greeted by a pod of dolphins. I've never seen dolphins so close before. They swam around the boat, and as we set off again, they followed alongside us, riding the waves. After about an hour, we reached the vicinity of the whirlpool's starting point, where we received another safety briefing.
If you can, try and hold on at all times with at least one hand. I'll have one hand holding on. Once we get into Corryvreckan itself, the boat will move quite a bit, and sometimes there could be a splash coming over the side.
We then headed inside the treacherous Corryvreckan Whirlpool. The water looked flat and calm, but then things suddenly changed.
So this is actually really calm for the Corryvreckan as well. Look behind you.
The feeling of being on the boat in the whirlpool was like being on a roller coaster at times. It felt so exciting. Despite the boat accelerating, we barely moved forward, as the immense force of the whirlpool pushed us back. Oh, it's quite fast. That's just from the whirlpool?
That's just the whirlpool. The engines are perfectly straight and not in gear at all.
Wow.
That's just the whirlpool spinning us round. How many times was it you spun in a minute one time, Gus? 14 times in 1 minute.
The whirlpool is steeped in local legend. One tale tells of the Viking prince Brecken, who fell in love with a princess from Jura and was challenged to anchor his boat in the dangerous Corryvreckan Whirlpool for 3 days to win her hand. Despite his courage, the powerful currents overwhelmed him, and his boat was pulled into the whirlpool, leading to his tragic death. It's said that his body washed ashore on Jura, and the whirlpool was named Corryvreckan in his memory.
Nowhere else. I had to go up over the hill and down the other side. That's what caused this. And there's a slight delay, probably a minute delay between each time a roll comes in, and that's to gather momentum and then it jumps over the other side.
We then headed into a nearby bay for a little surprise.
I'm a wee bit seasick. We always bring some medicine with us.
I gotta take a picture.
Of course you can. Get bay away from the Corryvreckan. Would anybody like a wee dram of Isla whiskey?
After enjoying the whiskies, we ventured back into the whirlpool for one last time before making our way back to Isla. Hello everyone, I made it back from the whirlpools. I didn't get sucked inside. It was so good. I am so glad I did the boat trip to actually go and see the whirlpools close up. It was really different to see them from the land and then also from the boat, because when you're on the boat you can really feel the force and the power of the water, and you can see the whirlpool, you're meters away from it. It is so incredible. That is one of the best things that I have done in Scotland. The man on the boat said they average around 10 trips per year, and it's very weather dependent, and there's only certain times of the month that you can go, and also sometimes the boat doesn't have enough numbers to go either. So I was really lucky that I managed to go today, and it was my first attempt trying to go there. Really enjoyed seeing the whirlpools from the land and also from the boat, and yeah, what a fantastic few days. Really good. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.